Bishop David Ajang of the Catholic Diocese of Lafia has called on Christians to move beyond superficial religiosity and embrace a life modeled on teachings of Jesus Christ. Bishop Ajang, who spoke to CTV News in an interview during the dedication of St. Matthew Catholic Church, 𝐁𝐢𝐬𝐬 in Lafia Diocese, noted that many Christians today practice what he called theoretical Christianity by attending Mass and belonging to church societies without living out the gospel values in their daily lives.
If you look at modern Christianity, I don't know where the twist came, but we seem to be obsessed with prosperity, and then whoever promises gets a huge followership. And because of that, we have people who are very knowledgeable about the Bible and people who are very religious by way of observing religious practices, but are yet to be converted. Because, going to church does not make one a Christian. Even being baptized technically qualifies you as a member of a church. But it is only when you are convinced, when you try to fashion your life after that of Christ, that you could be said to be a Christian. And I think that is where there is a disconnect today. Very few people are trying to live out the Christian tenets, but most people are okay as long as they read the Bible, they declare themselves as being saved. They rain down insults on their enemies and do all of those things, then they are fine. But we have forgotten that Jesus says, not all those who say to me, Lord, Lord, will enter the kingdom of God, but those who do the will. So it's about practice. And I think we need to call people back to practical Christianity. You see, like many problems in Nigeria is multifaceted. You can talk about terrorism, but you can also talk about criminality. And this is because even those who perpetuate such actions are not completely those who are outside the faith. Let's even assume that those who are outside the faith are the ones confronting Christianity. They have the collaboration of Christians. Me, I see, my personal opinion is just criminality. A few days ago, Muslims were killed in Katsina. They were targeted. It was during prayer that they were killed. And I suspect that those who carried out those actions were Muslims themselves. So what do you say about that? So it's a mixture. And as long as we are not able to distinguish one from the other, it becomes very difficult to say. And don't forget that sometimes those who perpetuate such actions want to distract people. In the church, we talked about good Muslims and bad Muslims, just as we have good Christians and bad Christians. So to just use a general categorization and say it's an affront of the church, I don't know whether that will be the correct thing to say. It is more about criminality. And for as long as we don't look at the root causes of these things, which is one of the problems I have, every day we complain insecurity. Have we asked ourselves why there is insecurity? We keep turning out graduates every day. How many of them are employed? People can no longer go to farm now. For as long as they have to struggle to survive, criminality will always persist. So if we don't do something about the basics of life, we will continue to have this